Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to talk to Doc Swiner about this whole vaccine thing. How are you doing? I hope everybody's doing well and is being safe, practicing the 3 W's, wearing your mask, washing your hands, waiting 6 feet apart, all that good stuff that we've been doing for months and months and months. So I'm joining Doc Swiner right now. Let's see if we can get her on. I had to switch up my surroundings. Usually I do this upstairs because the boy is on class, but I was able to get him to put on his headphones.
Hey,
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I found out one of my patients that I really love passed away this morning, so I'm kind of dealing with some feelings about that. I know, so
I'm sorry. I know that's got to be hard as a
it is
doctor.
hard. Yeah, and
Do they teach you in med school is like dealing with death of patients and the psychological aspects of that? Is that part of classes y'all take in med school?
yeah, somewhat, but
Mm-hmm.
you really don't know until you've kind of gone through it. Especially if you
Mm-hmm.
have a long-standing relationship with them and their families. I mean, it's almost like a member of your family, and so I have to
I'm
follow up with
sorry.
that, but I'm okay. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So love out
I'm
to
sorry.
her loved ones. We loved her very much.
That makes me sad. And
I'm
and
sorry.
you
Yeah, I'm
know,
sorry.
it just
I wanted to keep it real. I didn't want to fake the funk.
I'm fine. Everything's great. How are you? Yeah.
No,
No, not faking it today. I
no.
definitely understand. I hope that the conversations that we have can keep some people safe during everything that's going on so that there's a lot less of that happening.
Sadness. That's right.
Because it's a crazy time. And it's been a crazy time for like months and months and months and months and months. And here we are a billion months later, and I'm like, it's still a crazy time. Nothing's
Still
changed.
crazy. Yeah.
It's like,
Although
well,
I
things
will say,
did change. Things have
yeah,
changed,
things have
so we'll talk
changed.
about that.
But I do see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel as we transition to a new year, a new
Hmm.
administration, some new leadership in science, and the vaccine's coming. So, it's there, it's over there. We're getting closer and
It's
closer.
there. It's the light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope it ain't no train. Isn't that a
Right?
country song or something?
Right. Hey, Riley. Hey, guys.
So let's talk about the vaccine. And I feel like there's a lot about the vaccine we can talk about. I mean, we can talk about the scientific, factual parts of the vaccine, and then we can talk about the paranoid, I'm scared to take that part of the vaccine. So where would you
Yeah.
like to start, Doc Swiner?
I don't know, wherever you would like. Well, so my first question to you is, are you going to take the vaccine?
Not immediately. Definitely not. I'm not gonna be the first one in line. I mean, I definitely do want to see what happens and how it affects people. And the 24-hour news cycle that we live in, we gonna hear all the stories. We gonna hear all kinds of testimonials. And I don't
Hmm.
know, my elbow won't stop doing this now. And this is just how I live. Like we gonna hear all
I
them
got a third
stories.
eye. I got a third eye. What's a that shot? Yeah. Big Chris, 37357. Big Chris says, leave it over there. He said it's over. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, oddly, I'm listening to a podcast right now about the Tuskegee syphilis project and all of
Don't.
that, which is probably not the best timing.
Don't. Don't.
Um, but it's you always hear stuff, but I was like, I want to get to the nitty gritty. He said your hand will fall off. See, Chris, stop it. Um,
There have been no reports of that. Big But I mean,
but
the honest truth, and I agree with you. So it's going to be offered to essential workers and frontline workers and hospital workers first. So theoretically, I would be in the first group. I don't think I'm going to be number one in line either, um,
okay.
because there's a lot we got to see. We got to see. And interestingly, 3 of your past presidents said that they were going to get it done live so that we can see and watch. So I think Obama, who else? Clinton
Bush.
and Bush. Bush
Yeah.
number 2 said that they were going to get
Yes.
the vaccines live, which is wonderful. The truth is, we have to have some sort of a vaccine in order to move forward. I see Mr. B.
Right.
Pleasant says, nope. We
Nope.
have to have something. So even if you're not going to get it, we need some people to go and get it so that we can figure out what the next move is going to be. Because otherwise, we'll be in this pandemic forever.
Right. And people want to get back to normal. That's the only way it's going to happen. And really what concerns me is that, like, I saw one of the airlines, I don't remember which one, was talking about, we might lean towards
Mandatory.
you can't fly unless you've got your papers. You got to have your
What you going to
papers
do?
if you want to get on this plane. And then the guy that said it was like, and I think that other airlines will follow in our footsteps. And then, it starts off with airlines, and then it becomes schools, and then it becomes jobs. And I think everybody's going to have to take it at some point if you want to be able to move around. I think that's what it's going to
Yeah.
probably, that's just my personal opinion on what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think I even saw a report about Ticketmaster. They were talking about future concert arenas also making it a requirement. What you gonna do? So I put my doctor brain on, and then I put my citizen brain on. But so scientifically, what we need to cure and what we need to do to get over a pandemic includes a prevention, right? So not getting that thing. So hopefully you're doing, like I heard you mentioning earlier, that all the W's, right? Wearing your mask, washing, waiting, not gathering in groups, not going home for Christmas. Yes. We'll see how many people do that based on what we saw with Thanksgiving. So you got to prevent, number 1. Number 2, you got to have a treatment. Okay, so treatment-wise, I think we're doing better. We're doing much better. We've seen, people that, unfortunately do still end up in the hospitals, hopefully staying less and less. Yes, Big Chris, I agree. Home always looks good. Home is safest.
Amen to that.
With the people that live in your home, right? So we need treatment. So we're getting better with treatment. We have these antivirals. We have the steroids. We have the oxygen. We have, different things that we have been working on as far as treatment is concerned, because your president, thankfully, survived his because of the many, many,
Who's
many.
president? Who's president?
Huh?
Who's president?
America's president.
Oh,
America's America's president survived because of the many, many, many medications that we now know are helpful. So thank God for that. And then number 3 is the vaccination. We have to have a vaccination, whether or not everybody decides to take it or not. But chickenpox, polio, hepatitis, all these things, tetanus, all these things that we want, smallpox, we once had these crazy rip-roaring pandemics for. Vaccinations, no matter how you want to see it, are life-saving. And I understand the hesitancy. I understand the fear. I understand. Trust me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to be number 1 in the doctor's line either in the hospital. I'm probably going to be number 300, just to wait and kind of see a little bit. But how else are we going to become immune and grow antibodies to this thing and be able to prevent ourselves and our loved ones from dying? I mean, I would love to hear the ideas. If people have other ideas versus a vaccine.
Well, listen, I bet if you jump on Facebook, there are plenty of ideas. They might not be.
I'm going to talk to the scientists, not the Facebook PhDs.
Oh, not those? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We want rooted in science ideas. Okay. So let's talk about the vaccine. So because there's a lot. There's like 2 vaccines that we've heard about. And then we're hearing all this stuff about like the UK, like rushed through their vaccine approval process, and Fauci was kind of like, y'all doing too much too quickly. But it's also my understanding.
You heard what he said?
Yes. Yes.
Backtrack. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say Britain was going too fast. I'm sorry.
Sorry. It just came out. But it's my understanding that the FDA has a different process. Like it takes the FDA longer to approve stuff because they go through all the raw data, which sounds good to me because with everything going on, I want them to take all the time they need to look at everything they need to look at. Like I don't want them rushing through anything.
Yeah, I hear you, Fields of Dream 97. I hear you and I feel you. And we're going to talk about that. Yeah. So Fauci is concerned that Britain moved a little too fast. And thankfully here in the US, we have our own review process. So the FDA doesn't necessarily take the word of the companies that developed the vaccine. They do a whole nother investigative review. And they have their own standards, which I'm really happy about. So know that when it hits the U.S. market, know that it has gone through a number of reviews before it can pass, the inspection, more or less. So that does make me a little bit more reassured about it.
And warm and fuzzy about it?
A little bit better than running over to London and getting it today. The other part of it is, because it will be offered first to essential and frontline folks and folks that live in institutionalized facilities like nursing homes and things of that nature, it won't be available to the general population probably until mid to late first quarter, so springtime. So we have time to still look at a lot of numbers, a lot of data, a lot of statistics before everybody else can go get it. So that also reassures me. We'll have more and more data, the longer we are, waiting for it to be approved. So there's that.
Okay. So there are two different vaccines from two different companies. So how do we know, do we know yet? Or I guess this is part of the FDA process. Is one better than the other? Is the UK putting out both of them? Is the UK putting out one of them? And is there a choice? I've read all this stuff about one of the vaccines requires a special refrigeration. He said, listen, I'm going to stop reading Chris's comments. Requires it needs to be at a really, really, really low temperature. So that means we probably not going to be able to just walk into Target and get it. It's probably going to be more in hospital settings, I'm assuming, just because of the temperature. So how do we know which one we're going to get, or do we even know that yet?
Yeah, we don't know yet because it's still under investigation for the U.S. market, but the Pfizer one is the one that needs extreme cold, minus 97 degrees refrigeration and freezing. And so it's probably going to be mostly hospitals, maybe clinics, if they can purchase the right kind of refrigerator. Or freezer. I'm going to actually text my folks now and see about buying a different freezer that costs tens of thousands of dollars just to house the Pfizer vaccine. And then the Moderna one, which is the second one, which, by the way, acts pretty similarly. They're made from the same stuff, the mRNA. They're made from pretty much the same stuff, and so they act similarly, have the same, about the same rates of efficacy for preventing the infection. The Moderna one's probably going to be a little bit more accessible and more, it's going to be less expensive because it doesn't have to be frozen, or doesn't have to be frozen to the extreme like the Pfizer one does. So the Moderna one's probably going to be more accessible earlier. And then AstraZeneca and one other company is coming right behind it with some more variations of the vaccine. When they are Stan is asking, when they are distributed, what efforts can be made so the general public will be compliant? This is 2 doses. That's right. So that's the other issue, is almost all of these vaccines need a booster.
Right.
Yeah, you're correct. It won't help if people only get one part, not the other. Yeah. So Pfizer will have a booster in 3 weeks. Moderna has a booster in 4 weeks. And yes, you do need to get the booster so that you can be on top of it. Fields of Dreams, as did this go through clinical trials that the general public can be published results and outcomes. So let's jump into that. Can I jump into the trial part, Karen?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Fields of Dreams 97 made a very important statement or question before. I was asking about what if these statistics that we have, et cetera, are on just one demographic. So as a Black person, as brown people out there listening, we need more people to volunteer for these research trials. There are 2 coming through now through Janssen and Novavax that are actively asking for people of color to come and join the trials and be part of the research, because we don't have a lot of data right now on people of color. We don't have a lot of data on people of indigenous backgrounds because people are not volunteering. I wonder why. I wonder why.
If this were a different time under a different administration, I feel like this would be such, it would just be, everything would be different. Everything would be different. We wouldn't be begging people to wear masks. We wouldn't see people fighting in dog food stores about not putting on their mask and everything. So I think that finding people to volunteer would be a lot easier. And the only way we know it works for us, because it's like, nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to volunteer because we got issues and concerns and questions with the medical field. But then if we don't volunteer, and then it's like, oh, now I've gotten it and my elbow stays like this, but people who don't look like me don't have this problem. Well, it's like, we didn't volunteer, so they didn't know that our elbows were going to do this.
And so there's the rub. There's the rub. Yep. Yeah. So a lot, interestingly, and I've mentioned this before with other conversations we had, there are a number of my medical colleagues, particularly Black women, that have volunteered, that are volunteering for the study, and that have done incredibly well. Thank God. So there are people like us that are okay, and they are volunteering, and they have survived, and they've gotten their first couple of shots, and they're now protected. But we need more. We need more, or else we won't know how this thing affects us in particular. So, by the way, if you are in Durham or Fayetteville and you are interested in being, a volunteer for any of these research trials, please reach out to wakeresearch.com, who I'm working with, and they're asking me to educate the public on these things so that people who want to be a part of it can be. I am in no way advocating for any of these vaccines. I'm just giving out the information. But if you would like to be part of the research so that we can know, and then, yes, 357 Big Chris, I understand the Tuskegee trials were very, very, very concerning, still is a very concerning, controversial thing that people of color deal with from a trust issue. But it is what it is. We can't move forward until we have this data. So if you feel comfortable, or if you want to learn more about it, if you want to talk to the researchers yourself, that's how we attack this problem. So wakeresearch.com, if you're in Durham or Fayetteville and you want to get more information, you want to talk to these people one-on-one, that's where you can do that, so we can get all the information we need so that we feel more reassured. We feel that we can trust this thing. And the last thing I'll say about what you said, Karen, was I agree. As we enter and transition to this new administration, I'm hopeful and prayerful that there will be more trust. Now that Dr. Fauci, his muzzle can be removed, because remember, he wanted to give education and information that he was being, told to hush hush about. Now that his muzzle can be removed, and now that Biden has put him in the forefront of the conglomerate he's forming to attack this thing, hopefully people will trust the process a little bit more.
All right.
MyBedroom.com. Get out of here, Big Chris.
I'm not even reading Chris comments no more.
Okay. So we know that Big Chris is not going to volunteer for the study, but for people who are interested or just want to learn about more, read about more, wakeresearch.com.
He's a mess. So what about people who've already had COVID? Will they still need to get vaccinated? How does that work?
Yes. So the data for now is showing that there is some immunity after getting the infection. So once you've gotten the infection, you've recovered, survived, we can do blood work to test to see that your antibodies are still present for probably about 3 months, they're saying. But then after that, you can get reinfected. So yes, people who have been infected, I think, need to still consider getting the vaccine for future prevention.
All right. What do we know about kids yet?
We don't know anything about kids yet. They're still doing a lot of research. The pediatric studies are still being done. So these are only in adults for right now.
So how does that work? At some point, are they going to be asking for volunteers for kids as well? Like, we need your 7-year-olds to go get the...
Yeah. I'm sure they will. I mean, it's the same is true for what used to be done with, the flu shot or with the tetanus and the polios that we give our kids now. Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't freak me out at all. Okay.
I agree.
Like
I agree.
I'm a little bit of a paranoid parent, as most parents are. So that
Yeah.
doesn't freak me out at all.
I
So
get
after
it.
people get vaccinated, how, like, will those people wear a mask, not need to wear, like, how does anything change? I guess until everybody's vaccinated, are we still going to have to practice the 3 Ws? Do we still have to socially distance? Do we still have to eat outside? Do we still have to have Thanksgiving on the back porch with the windows? Like, how will this change until everybody's got the vaccine? Or are we still going to have to be wearing masks and all of that?
That's a good question. I would imagine if for no other reason than psychological, I feel that we're going to be wearing masks for a long time. And I probably still, so let's say April next year, I get the shot. I'm still going to be seeing patients all the time with this and dealing with the effects of coronavirus. I'm still probably going to be a pretty consistent mask wearer, if for nothing else, to protect my family from getting, or my loved ones, my close folks, from getting the illness. Now, as we have more and more people getting the shot, more and more herd immunity, I think less and less will have to be as stringent and as strict. I don't think we'll have to all be as strict with the regulations, and states don't have to be as strict about regulations the more people get shots to prevent the disease. So eventually it'll be kind of back to normal. Yeah.
Eventually.
Stay in your bubble.
But I mean,
bubble. Stay in your bubble. Yeah, stay in your bubble.
Stay in your bubble. Yeah. So realistically speaking, they're saying that the public won't be getting the vaccine until spring-ish. And then it's going to take for a long time to vaccinate everybody, or at least, 90% of the public. So we're looking at life like this for a while longer, it seems like, right?
Yeah, I would say at least, summer of next year, we're probably still going to be dealing with it, but hopefully less and less. If people really trust the process and they, have less fear than a lot of people do now, and the numbers are going down, infection rates, then I do see things returning to some state of normalcy, hopefully by mid next year.
So the question is, if you were a betting woman, Doc Swiner, are your kids going to be in the classroom next fall or still at the house? I feel like we have a little glitch here. Can you hear me? Okay, there we are. Okay. Are they going to be in the house, or I missed it? Are they going to be in the house, or?
They may be ready for school by maybe, the beginning of the next semester. So school starts, August, September. They're saying that the U.S., everyone who wants to get the shot, they estimate that everyone who would want to get the shot in the U.S. will probably be able to get it by June. Give you a couple of months of immunity. School starts August, September. Maybe I would keep them the first semester, and maybe January think about letting them return. If you'd asked me this last year or the beginning of this school year, I was like, absolutely not. No, they're staying home.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And speaking of numbers, what are our numbers looking like? I feel like we set a couple of records in a bad way this weekend in North Carolina, right?
Astronomical because of Thanksgiving. Astronomical.
Okay.
Astronomical. And I think Fauci said probably you'll see another week of it because of Thanksgiving. Fields of Dreams says, not sure if this I've already covered, but how many uses from cloth masks before we should discard? Good question. I tend to not encourage the use of cloth masks. Disclaimer. I say stay with your surgical mask and stay with your N95s. If you are going to use a cloth mask, I would use a filter behind it, or maybe put your surgical mask and then your cloth mask on top. And then probably, I mean, you can wash your cloth mask. Like we spray and sanitize the mask and put them down for a couple of days, or you can wash them. But really, the gold standard is not to use cloth at all, especially one without a filter. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, and I read some reports about cloth masks and that people just aren't washing them the way they need to. They're like, if your mask gets infected, then you don't wash it, you're just putting it on your face. So I read that people were not washing cloth masks enough and not disposing of disposable masks enough. That like, this is my disposable mask and it lives in my car for a week. And every time I go out, I put it on again.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, again, I'm in the doctor's office and we don't have, enough masks to go around. So yeah, we are reusing some of our masks, a couple of times a week, but I'm sanitizing mine. So every time I take mine off, I spray it down and maybe try to switch out every other day. So you can use your disposable masks more than once. You just got to make sure they're disinfected.
All right. So numbers are going up. We've been setting records this weekend. I don't know if they've put out the numbers for today yet. I haven't looked, but I just saw Saturday and Sunday and I was like, eee, that's not good. That don't look good at all. All right. So we still need to practice our 3 W's and figure out what we're doing for Christmas and stay home, which we didn't do for Thanksgiving, but now they're like, y'all, please stay home.
Stay home, guys. I mean, I get it.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm going to talk to my dad and his wife who live in South Carolina. If we were to have company, they would be our only company, and it's 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to set a protocol, and they have to either agree to it, the protocol, getting everybody quarantined for 14 days. Let's all get tested about 2 or 3 days before, sit down and quarantine after you get your test. Come in, we might continue to wear masks when they're here because they're older, and then we don't go anywhere. We'll be here in the house. So I'm going to present that to them and see what they think. And if they don't like the way that those, standards sound, then we just need to not be together for Christmas. And, unfortunately, that's going to cause a lot of arguments with a lot of families, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
yeah.
I'm like, my grandma's 92. She lives by herself. And I want her here. I've been testing before I go get her. The only thing that concerns me though, and I don't have no effect over it, is that she does PT at home. So there's PT people in and out of her house. And it's just like, there's so many unknowns and only so much I can control. But, but you want
I think accepting some risk on her behalf, is smart, but at least you acknowledge and you are aware of the risk, right? So that you can be you can compensate on your end and be extra careful. And hopefully those folks going into her house are masked, and hopefully she's wearing her mask and then sanitizing after they leave.
Now, I'm not even going to ask you because I know the answer is yes, you're still, going through your decontamination chamber before you walk into your house. And you strip down and you put all your stuff in the washing machine. And I know that you are not really going into stores. For those of us who had started venturing out and we're feeling like, oh, I can go to Walmart, I can go to Target. Is it time for us to go back to Instacart? Is it time for us to go back to drive up delivery? If we have been, living fancy free, is it time to go back to where we were in the summer?
I would say, we've been doing that. I've been doing that fairly consistently. If you follow me on Instagram, I want you to be like, she's a lie. I have gone to Nordstrom Rack. But I did a private shopping event. So I had them close the store down, privilege. I had them close the store down, and 7 of us went in there before the store opened. So if you can't do that.
Listen, first of all, the way my check is set up, I ain't got that kind of privilege, but good for you. Congratulations. And listen, it's still got Nordstrom in it. I don't care. I don't care.
But no, really, if you must and you have to, and you feel like you have to go there physically because you have to pick out your own broccoli, greens, apples, I get it. Just please try to pick a less congested time of the day. wear your mask, go in, come out. Like, don't go in. Somebody said balling.
She is balling. She balling, y'all. Listen, we see you. We see you on IG. We see your little Beyonce drip. We see it. I saw all the pictures. I see your photo shoots. I see all of it.
Can we say eBay? Can we say eBay? Let me say that. Okay? eBay. Put y'all on some game. eBay.
Ma'am. Anybody shutting down, listen, anybody shutting down Nordstrom anything ain't getting their Beyonce gear from eBay. She probably sent you the whole thing. Where's that? I ain't seen that video.
I wish. Oh, I would whole unveiling unboxing. You would still today be hearing about me getting a Beyonce box, or Beyonce sent me a box. Okay? I would have it set up behind me right here. Beyonce box.
Right now. We're talking about vaccines, yeah, but I'm gonna sit to the side just so y'all can see it. I know. All right.
But no, okay, so let's get back to what we were talking about. So Instacart for life. I mean, I just Instacarted yesterday or 2 days ago. But if you have to go in somewhere, go in through the least congested time. You know, if you are not a senior citizen and you don't count as, you know, you enter the senior citizen hours, go right after that. And spend go in, get what you got to get, and go out.
Doc Swiner.
I hope by now most folks have gotten their flu shots. Again, if you are a vaccine taker, hopefully you've also gotten your flu shot, because flu, thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't diagnosed a flu yet. So hopefully, you know, clearly we're in the peak of the season now, and it doesn't end until like April, but I feel like a lot of people got their flu shots this year, and then we're wearing masks and social distancing, so that also was helpful. But I would still encourage you to get your flu shot, especially if you are in the high risk category, because you don't want flu on top of COVID. So, you know, I would still do that. And just be smart, folks. I mean, like I said, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, improvements are being made. I know the numbers are going up, but at least from a treatment and prevention standpoint, things are looking better for the new year. So you just got to stick with it. My opinion, I do see another lockdown coming. That's just my personal opinion. But that's okay.
I see that too.
Just be ready. Best way to support a relative that lives alone but has COVID. I would, for that person, hopefully if they're at home and they are still able to get up and fix their own food and do all these things, I would not go and like stay with them as long as they're able to take care of themselves independently. I would, you know, FaceTime multiple times. I would make sure that they're following up with their primary care physician, and I would drop off at the window, at the porch, you know, and all that. If you have to go into the home, put on as much PPE as you have available, 6 to 10 feet apart, and don't stay very long.
Wow. All right. Chris said best is September, right?
For what? Going outside? Yes, Chris, for you, September.
For you. September of 2030, because he ain't getting the vaccine. So September 2030, like he said. All right. Thank you so much, Doc Swiner, for this information.
Thanks.
We have to talk about this again as we get closer to the rollout and as we get more information from the FDA and as we see what happens in the UK. Like, this might be season 5 of The Crown. Like, oh, Lord, everybody's turning to zombies in the UK.
Don't do that, Karen.
I'm sorry. Just kidding.
WakeResearch.com. Go learn for yourself. Go be a part of it. WakeResearch.com if you want more information on these studies here, Durham and Fayetteville.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And where do we follow you on social media so that we can see more of your locking down the store, gift bag? Thing froze on you. I froze on you again. Say that one more time.
You were being sassy? Is that why the phone turned off? What'd you say? You said to see more of my what? What'd you say?
Your photo shoots and you shutting down stores and balling out
That's
of
why.
control.
See,
Where do
that's
we
why.
see more of that? See, I was being sassy. I was. Where we see you?
Stop it.
Sorry. I'll do better. Where do we follow you? Facebook,
At Doc
Twitter.
Swiner.
Okay.
Everywhere.
At Doc Swiner.
I'm probably gonna do a Couch Chronicles tonight. If you follow me and my husband Rick Swiner, we'll probably do a Couch Chronicles tonight. A Couch Chronicles tonight to talk about our surprise vow renewal. Ooh.
It's like I did not get the notification till I saw
It
it
was
on
a surprise.
IG.
It was a surprise.
It was a surprise vow renewal, and we talked about it. We talked about it a few months ago. I was like, we should renew your vow.
I
You
know.
were like, okay.
Hi, it's a TIFF thing. I know the pandemic got in the way, so I just took advantage of the moment.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Well, we will tune in tonight to check out you and Rick and all of y'all's tomfoolery, because that's what it always is, tomfoolery with the two of y'all. Thank you for chatting with us about this vaccine, and I'm going to save this video, post it on our Instagram page so that people can get the information that they need. Thank you, Doc Swiner.
Thank you. Love you. Y'all be
See
safe.
you later. Bye.
Bye.
Now I got to figure out how to end this on the new Instagram because I don't know. Okay, we're going to try this.